people invest in themselves, other people also recognize the investment in them, you know? So it's like that circle of friends that stay close, like they recognize you're investing in yourself. You're investing in the potential future. And so for them as well, because they see that investment in yourself, they could get inspired by it and be like, oh, maybe I should start investing in myself as well. Like Dr. Tia is doing such an amazing thing, setting herself up for her 20 years of future. They're
Yeah.
doing it right now versus the ones who are having fun, going out and partying and all that. Like it's not to put anything on them, but it's just like it's not too much of an investment for that future. I mean, it's for the moment of now, but like let's say you go out like one night and you spend like $100 on a drink, on drinks. It's like you just blew $100 in one night
Yeah.
for a couple of drinks, so rather than like, oh, maybe I could put that $100 in a savings really fast to put that into education. So that's one of the things in there. Now, I guess with people investing in themselves, how did you also recognize that your close? How did you recognize that the close friends were there and they were yeah, I remember you were talking about the post. I'm sorry. So you're talking about the post that they were there, like they'll recognize like little things of like, oh, are you a little off, or is this something happening? Like they'll see it in the moment. Um, I guess I kind of want to like flip the question a little bit to a new topic. Is that okay?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Sure.
Okay. So for education in the digital front, and how do you see education changing from being online from in person? Because online opens up a wide avenue of platforms to learn from, versus in school in the institutions, it's like you have these teachers, so the teachers are educating versus like somebody who's trying to find education online. Maybe they don't have enough like resources to go to the school, for things like that, but there's so many free resources that are on the internet. How would you advise somebody who maybe doesn't have the financial resources to go to school, but still wants to be educated? How would you advise them to use one of the free resources online to educate themselves, or maybe to find connections with people that also that also are investing in themselves, et cetera, et cetera.
Absolutely. So there's definitely things like Coursera. There's LinkedIn Learning. There's also, I tell people to take it old school. Go to the library. There's so many different postings that you will see on the bulletin board. There's so many workshops that are going on where you can walk in and you can find the information. I recognize that everyone doesn't have the same support system as I had. And I tell anyone in a minute, start with your libraries. If your school has a guidance counselor, you know, go to that guidance counselor and talk to them, and even if you don't feel like you can talk to the guidance counselor or you can't find them, you don't know who they are, Google. Google is your friend. The
Mhm.
other thing is being a part of the NAACP and being the education chair. I also pride myself on, doing different posts, like my Facebook page is public. So that way, when I post about different scholarships, we also have a scholarship where we're giving away three at the moment. But you have to live within our catchment area. So we definitely, post about that. And again, even if it's not one specifically from my branch, if I do come across anything, even if it's something like a fellowship, if it's a internship, externship, whatever it may be, I make sure that I post those things on my social media. And the other thing is too, when you do your searches, whether you're on LinkedIn or somewhere else, do a hashtag, whatever it is that you're looking for. So it could be hashtag fellowship, hashtag grants, scholarships, whatever that may be. And I guarantee that you will find it. Now, you will have to comb through it just to make sure that it applies to you. But there are actually even other institutions out there that are offering free courses, whether it's Google, or it could be, even something like, I believe, Harvard, and some of, the other Ivy League schools. Sometimes they also have free courses that people can take. And from there, that's how you can also build your knowledge if you want to go back to school. And believe it or not, there's so many scholarships out there for people. So even if you're left-handed, even if you have a hobby in bowling, whatever it is, you can find a scholarship so that way you can go back to school. And I'll be honest with you, doing the online learning is so convenient for anyone out there, even if you aren't a single parent. Let's say that you're taking care of your brothers and sisters, or maybe a parent or guardian, or maybe it's something where you just feel like you need to work. Because let's be honest, in this economy, we all need at least 2 or 3 jobs.
Mm.
But I would even encourage people, look at the online schooling. It's not the stigma of how it was, 15, 20 years ago when it first came out. It is very common for people to go to work full time, go to school full time, and it's very flexible. Sometimes they have hybrid, meet. So maybe sometimes you will be on campus, other times it's online, or sometimes you'll be via Zoom. Other times, you could just submit your work free, independently. So I would say look into all of those options. And sometimes they don't run on scholarship because it's a cohort. You may have to pay differently. You may not be eligible for financial aid. So there's many different options out there for people to go to school.
That was a very good question, Kevin, because it, Tia explanation is so good in the aspect of you can get the education, but there's a difference between education and credentials. When you go to academia, is to get credentials and educate yourself, and there's a guidance to that, a form. But that doesn't mean you can't educate yourself and you can become a scholar on your own, because there's people that actually learn better on their own. But we're not testing those minds. There's like so many opportunities when it comes to education, and it's just so like, okay, it's almost like we need to create a system where it tailors a little bit better to those like people that don't really apply by the rule. And it's unfortunate because those are the ones that are put to the side, and they're seen as rebels, or seen like you,
Mhm.
you don't follow the system. But it's just like they get stimulated differently. They're not the same as somebody that is more enticed to the organization of an academic, I would say, background. I'll leave Autumn because I love Autumn's question. I got to be honest with you, Kevin and Autumn kill it with the question. So go ahead, Autumn.
I love that you were talking about ending generational patterns and emphasizing inner work. And I think I admire you too for this, because I think when you do inner work, it helps you to also be a grounded parent. Because I think when you don't address the interior stuff that you have to go through, it can kind of blind you to some things in parenthood and being and showing up for your children in a certain way. And I love that I feel like that's what makes you a strong advocate. Even when you were talking about observing your son and you notice certain things, I'm like, oh, the mama bear came out.
Yes.
Yeah, oh my God, I love mom's advocacy because they're the superheroes that we need.